Who told you that? Okay, here we go. Now I know y'all can hear me. I have to refresh my page. What? Saturdays are my Saturdays. So y'all might watch the videos shortly live from me until after it starts. It might not be nothing, crazy or outlandish, but it might be. I got some stories. I got a lot of stories, okay, shenanigans and shenanigans. But welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another story time Saturday. Saturday, my mom is her Sabbath too, so she's resting. And I have my kids. So there's going to be a lot of they're gonna make a lot of their presence known here on these. But that's neither here nor there. This one is actually about my first experience as I'm on two devices, so I keep looking at the book that's that. But this one is actually about my first pregnancy and birth. So for those that don't know, I am currently in the process of doing my training to become a holistic pregnancy and birth doula. And my experiences of my pregnancies and my birth experiences are one of the many reasons why. And a lot of people don't talk about it. I'm not gonna say a lot of people don't talk about it. I've never talked about it. On platforms, on social media, or anything like that. I have shared that my oldest was a NICU baby. But that whole experience from start to finish, even the conception, wasn't really the experience that I would have wanted for myself in my pregnancy, but it was what I got. So my mom and sister have a history. Well, my family, or specifically my mom's side, has a history of fertility challenges. So going into it, I automatically had this fear and anxiety around having those same challenges. But I wanted to also give a disclaimer, y'all. Saturdays, like I said, are my Sabbath. I don't put my contacts in or anything like that. I am pretty much fine without my glasses and my contacts. My glasses are super safety, but I don't care. But that's what I was saying. As far as my first pregnancy, I did get pregnant 6 months into my marriage, but prior to that, I had so much anxiety and fear around having fertility challenges, feeling like, oh, why, has it been 6 months? Even though 6 months is not a long time, I was still like anxious around this idea that I would have the same fertility challenges that my mom and my sister had. So I felt like I was already behind the eight ball going into marriage, going into the idea of wanting children. And my reasonings behind getting married were not the right reasons. As y'all heard, my last story time was the time, the last story time about my divorce, and then, how I even got with my now ex-husband. Now hindsight being 2020, looking back at everything, I could have regrets about it, but my baby got hit. So that is one of the reasons why I don't regret my decisions. I wish things were different, but everything happens for a reason. And my baby got here. They've changed my world, and they will continue to change the world. The reason why they are here. As you can hear my youngest here with me. They're all very gifted, all very, have different personalities, different things that they will contribute to my life, and different things that they will contribute to the world. So I already had trauma that I had to heal from, not only from my now ex-husband, but trauma from experiences in past relationships, dealing with trauma around the fertility challenges that my family had. So my first pregnancy was a very anxious and scary time, although I'm able to function highly in chaos or dysfunction or with anxiety or with fear. Like a lot of times people won't know that that's what's going on with me because I'm able to put on a smile and say, I'm good, whatever the case may be. Like they're close to me and I'm like, girl, I'm tripping. Like I'm freaking out, whatever the case may be. But I was working full time when I got pregnant. I don't think we found out until I was about 12 weeks. Because it was an easier process and I was so busy with work. I was a preschool teacher. So I was already like busy with work, busy with the kids, and I love my job. I love the kids that I was working with. So I kind of put it to the back burner once it didn't happen right away like I expected. After we got married, I just kind of stopped thinking about it. I stopped worrying about it. And when I did get pregnant, and we finally found out after about 10, 12 weeks pregnant, I kept working. I kept, living life as usual. I did more or different things when it came to my health. Drinking more water, different things like that. But I had gone on a trip with my best friend at the time. We went on a trip and I was drinking and, having fun. Had no clue I was pregnant, but I did end up getting sick. One of the nights, and I was throwing up, but of course I didn't know until probably weeks later after that I was pregnant, but I was on this trip. So that's how I had put it so far in my mind. I wasn't even thinking about it. It was just like, but when we finally found out I was pregnant, I had already had said prayers about what I desire. I said that I wanted twins. I wanted a boy and a girl. I said I wanted a boy and a girl. If I was gonna have twins, I wanted it to be a boy and a girl to just get it out the way. But if I didn't have twins, I wanted my boy first. And I ended up getting both prayers answered, but that's another story for another day. But I ended up having my son first, but because I was working in childcare, and I ended up having an incident where I fell at work, and I was fine, or so I thought, and went through whatever I had to go through at work to, paperwork and all of these other things. But I ended up, being okay. I didn't look into that. Yeah, they go to the doctor, check it out, and everything was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later. I really don't know the exact timing of everything, but it wasn't long after. It might not have even been 2 or 3 weeks after. Um, but after that, one night I got up to go to the bathroom and I heard this big pop. And I'm thinking that, it was my bones or something. I don't know what it was. But there was this big thirst of water and I was only 28 weeks pregnant at the time. So I'm like, this can't be my water break. This would be my first pregnancy. I think their father was at work. He worked overnight. And I'm like, no, like this can't be what it is. Like this can't be my water breaking. So I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, like, I don't know what happened. I think my water broke. It's like you're only 28 weeks, like that's not, they can't get in. So I ended up, I think, calling the hospital. I think I went to get in the shower. Which now hindsight was probably not a good idea, but I went to go get in the shower and like call their father, let him know what was going on. He came to get me, and the hospital was literally right around the corner, so I really wasn't. You put what? You put what in my cup of coffee? Stairs? You put stairs in my cup of coffee? That's why. Don't touch my cup. Okay? Um, oh. So I get in the shower, trying to get to the hospital, and they're like, yes, your water broke, your dilated have to start your labor, some kind of infection, and of course, only being 22 alone. And then they labeled me high risk because of the incident before, they labeled me as a fall risk. Um, so I ended up, they would have been able to stop my labor, but they admitted me into the hospital where I stayed for 2 weeks. They had to transfer me from the hospital around here to another one that couldn't have um, the level of NICU that was needed for where I was in my pregnancy in case I had to give birth. Because usually when your water breaks, they don't let you stay pregnant. But because I was only 28 weeks and I still had some fluid, for whatever reason, I just stayed in the hospital, stayed on bed rest. But at 33 days, my labor started again. And it happened so fast that they could stop the time. So I ended up giving birth to him an hour away from home. My mother was able to take care for not all of them. Their father was there. So I wasn't alone when everything happened. But it was a very short process. It didn't matter of 2 hours once the labor started. I may have slipped twice. He was here at 3 pounds and 13 ounces. And yeah, that was the beginning of my motherhood journey. My pregnancy, I ended up being diagnosed with gestational diabetes while in the hospital. And I believe it was because I was on bed rest. I couldn't move around like I was used to doing. And they had a freaking grape cookie in the hospital. So I was eating cookies almost every day. So I'm pretty sure that could be some gestational diabetes. But that whole experience was traumatizing because this was my first pregnancy. And starting out my pregnancy, not knowing I was pregnant, drinking, like I had a lot of guilt around it. I was like, why didn't I know? This, that, and the third. But he was healthy. He was fine. It wasn't like I was drinking every single day. It was a weekend. It was like a weekend trip. Um, but thankfully, I was able to be in a NICU that I could stay in overnight. So I didn't have to go home, and which I did every single night I was there. I may have stayed home once in the 45 days time frame of him being in the NICU, but I would be in the NICU and I would see like babies who like parents will rarely come because I was like there all day, and I'm like, where are their parents? Like that was a whole nother aspect of my experience, but thankfully nurse that I had, like I said, I didn't really have anything. I didn't have something broad. I knew I wanted to breastfeed. Um, but I ended up having a really good nurse that showed me how to make a pumping bra out of the, what is it called? The little hospital underwear. And she told me the power pump, and that was something that like helped my milk really come in like really, really fast. Um, so I had a really good supply, oversupply. My milk was abundant, very abundant. Um, so I didn't have to worry about him eating. Like I had to get him formula and giving him formula, which is not what I wanted to do anyway. So I produced a good, really good. I had a really good milk supply. So I was pumping while there at the hospital. They had, of course, a hospital grade pump that I could use while I was there. They would make sure I had all the supplies, the bottles, and everything. I only had maybe one or two. It was really one that I could remember. But I was like, yeah, I had to talk to somebody and tell them, like, don't send her back to my room. Don't send her back in here with my baby because she was so rough. It was just her whole energy, her whole, the way that she went about things. I did stuff besides him. So it was like, she was like doing like little stuff. Like when he needed to eat, like she would like, it was a whole lot. Like she just was not it. So it was I really had a really good experience, but it was still traumatic because I couldn't have that experience of taking my baby home. Like I literally had to stay at the hospital, shower at the hospital, figure out how to eat at the hospital, all these things. We were spending so much money with eating out because I wasn't feeding my baby. So it was a hard time financially because I was the one that had the full time job. And at the time, their father was looking for additional work. So it was definitely a very challenging time. But to have my water break at 28 and like I was in denial at first, like, yeah, this can't be that. But when I told my mom, she's like, yeah, that sounds like your water broke. Excuse me. Ooh. But it was just, and I definitely say the hospital stay those 2 weeks. I was very, I was in a dark place mentally and emotionally because I'm not used to having to sit still like that. I'm not used to having always having people to take care of me, having to eat the hospital food, and not being able to work, not being able to get up and go, not being able to go outside. I had a really, really, really hard time those 2 weeks. Um, Thankfully, at one point, I was able to get outside closer to when I had him. I was able to go outside in a wheelchair and just to get some fresh air. And I ended up running into someone who we went to college with. that just, was a light in that moment that I really needed. But the NICU, it was really hard, and then having like other babies there, and babies getting sick, and then having like rush and do certain things, like that was really really hard. Um, and then different situations what happened with his breathing. He was jaundiced at one point. At one point, he had a hard time getting him to eat. So there was a lot of different things that happened during that time that it was really, really a really difficult time for me, for us, for our family. My mom was so supportive. Of course, her father was there, but we did have our challenges during that time because we just saw things differently. He felt like I needed to be home resting, but I wanted to be with my baby. I wanted to make sure that my baby was okay, to make sure that he had what he needed, and I wanted to be the one there to take care of him because if we were home, that would have been what was happening. So it was a very challenging time. And this experience led to stop jumping on that bed, please. I definitely had a lot of anxiety, I probably was depressed at the time, but because I was trying to do what I needed to do and be there and be strong for my baby. Stop jumping on the bed! My bad, y'all. But because I wanted to be there for my baby, I didn't want to be there. I didn't know what, a nurse might do is, it was just a lot. I had definitely had a lot of anxiety more than anything around the whole situation. And it was hard. It was a hard 45 days once they finally, allowed us to take us home. It was one of the happiest days ever. And again, we didn't know that while I was in the NICU, I got pregnant again. So 6 weeks after having him, our second, so this is what, jumping on the bed. This is what led to us going from because of my first experience with the pregnancy, even though we kind of knew, but they still didn't attribute the fall to exactly why my water broke. They literally had no idea why my water broke. So, and we didn't know exactly why. We just couldn't stay home for this pregnancy, for the second pregnancy, so that we could make sure that it was a better experience. But it didn't end up being that. Stop. A very, very, very challenging birth experience. So this is one of the reasons why I've decided to a holistic pregnancy and birth doula specifically for melanated mamas that are navigating high risk and high risk pregnancy because of my experiences. And I want to be a support for that pregnancy. We'll do the same thing, work similar to that I did. And a woman of color, you have a different experience when it comes to how to treat people in certain ways. Like I don't have any memorable experiences with my first pregnancy, but with my third, it definitely. And then my second birth experience, it just was stuff that ended up happening. And now having the wisdom, the knowledge, and the education that I have, I know better, and I'm able to support melanated mamas that might have those experiences where they're going to come up, where they need someone to advocate for them. I'll be able to do it. Oh yeah, yep. experience about my pregnancy, about working, like where the person that I explained anything. I'm an open book, so feel free to ask any questions. Please stop. Give me those. Give me. Give me, please. They're not drums. I mean, drumsticks. But don't forget to like, subscribe, share. One of my close friends today was telling me that she thinks that I need to vlog my very productive person, and my accountability partner said, you know, like behind the scenes, all sitting in the but being a single stay at home, three children, 5, 4, and 2. That I wouldn't be as productive as much as I do, but I have different things in support me with that. And then on about what's question, I just posted a video about some certain signals and that support me with a lot of things that I do behind the scenes that I don't think is really a big deal. But we want to be productive vlog, a day in the life, or days in the life of a stay at home mompreneur of 3. Single. So yeah, I think that's all. I'm gonna see if I'm complete. Yeah, I'm complete. Make sure that you check out my website, CitiesHardy.com. You can see the upcoming events. I do have eliminating on the other events as well. Bringing the fruits now, but something that I want to share with you tonight is the Empowered Birth Guide. It is specifically like for what I mentioned from the related mamas that are experiencing high risk and high pregnancies that desire support and community around the experience. So please share. It's called Empowered Birth Guide over on me.com, and I'm looking for both of you. We do have 1 member, so welcome to our first member, which is my desire is to be a community of support, encouragement, and place for a tie, please. That are having a challenging experience to know that it can be positive, peaceful, and even pleasurable when you have the right support, the right resources, and community in place. So just remember that I love you. I see you. I'm so proud of you for watching this video. And if you have a question, feel free to let me know any feedback. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We are on our journey to monetizing our YouTube page. So anything that you do here. So thank you in advance for your support. When we get to 50 subscribers, we will do a giveaway. So if you want to learn more about that, go to our post and I will share more details. Of course, we'll be talking about it. So thank you for your patience. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you on Monday. I think it's my next live before our co-working session. Our weekly co-working session at 2 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully I'll see you there. All right, y'all.